All right, everyone, welcome back to Carnivore Trades. Today is Sunday, December 22nd, 2024. I'm going to do some new analysis here. I'm going to try and do Sunday night videos a little more often and keep it a little bit different than our weekly, or I should say daily analysis. I'm just going to go over levels here on the majors and maybe a few stocks to keep a watch on. That said, if you like the content, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel, posting out 2 videos a day. Keep notifications on for shorts, intraday analysis, GEX levels, and obviously come find me on carnivoretrades.com for swing trading alerts, analysis, and live day trading. Anyways, let's get into it. So what are we going to be looking at this week here? We'll go over some technicals as well as some of our proprietary dealer levels that we come up with here at Carnivore Trades. And right now we're going to start off with SPX. And so very simple here. We had the big sell last week and nice rebound on Friday. Now we do have the government shutdown stuff going on. Just please be advised, I'm doing this video before futures open. So we could gap up or down 100 points or something crazy. So just keep that in mind. But I'll go over the levels as necessary anyway. But in any case, right now you can see we had a nice rebound on Friday. And 59.50 still remains a big point of control, so bears did defend that. Now, where I'd be looking on the upside here, immediately, just from a technical standpoint here, I'm just going to say 6,000. That's the level bears need to defend. So, 59.50, even if that gets conceded, you do need to defend 6K. Why? It's a whole round number, and B, it's a 618. So very picture perfect. It's almost as if, charts work very nicely. I know it's astrology for men, but looks pretty good here, lining up perfectly. Also lining up with the hourly 200. So definitely a big convergence in that area. If they concede that level, we're going to go up to this trend line here, which is going to be around 60, 20 to 25, depending on, if we hit it Monday or something. If we hit it on Wednesday, it's a little bit different. Obviously, it's going to be down sloping. But up to that trend line there. And then, we get above that, we're going to new all-time highs. So this is a level, big level. Bears got to defend. That's a line in the sand. Big picture last week, we did not do any technical damage on the spider or on the SPX. 20 MA, didn't even really touch it. So despite that big sell, a lot of noise, really just kind of ended up being a test candle. So that is a big level to watch. And then above that, obviously, 60-20. On the downside here, obviously, you've got the pivot low here, 58.32. There was a big SPX gamma wall at 58.50 this morning. That did get defended immediately. We had some levels pegged at 580 on SPY and 575 as support. We didn't quite get there pre-market, but we got close enough, and we did get a nice dip buy this morning. 578, sometimes you're just not going to quite get there. There was also, just to go over on the ES, this is a level I was also watching, and it's why I front ran without waiting to get to. Let me just adjust this chart because it's being silly. There we go. I did not wait for 575 because we broke below that and then broke back above. So I said, okay, the lows are probably in. But in any case, there's still a good amount of support down in that area if we were to gap down and try to flush. If that happens, yes, you'll have some trapped longs, but I don't think that, if you're a bear, I think you would actually rather have the retrace first. And the reason I say that is, again, coming off of the condition we're in, like, look at, the McClellan, right? Talked about this plenty of times on the channel. You're just going to go to even more oversold, then it's just going to be an even bigger squeeze, right? So that's kind of, I think for bears, you actually want a retrace here. So it's almost like bulls and bears want the same thing going into next week. It's just that if you're bullish, you want the bears to, you want to be able to blow through this level. Additionally, you might say, well, if we get to that upper trend line at 60-20, isn't that kind of like too much of a retrace? Like it's just too, it's too deep of a retrace, and we're just going to go to new highs anyway. There's precedence for this, historical precedence, and people forget these things, but go back to the 2022 high, right? And guess where we went? Right to that old area. So, this is totally, patterns repeat, charts repeat. Right, so there's your bear case right there, right? I just laid it out for you on the back test. So that's a couple of levels to watch for the spiders. 696 is going to be a level Monday. Again, it's the pivot high, and then 600. I know it's, looks, it's almost the same as SPX, but not the same, but this is kind of where we're seeing dealers positioned. This is just early in the week, so it could change later in the week, but that's what we're looking at there. And again, I still think there's a ton of support down here if we were to try to gap down on some. I mean, I think the government shutdown stuff's bogus anyway. Like, how many times have we had, as the world ended on a partial government shutdown? Let me check. Oh, that's right, never has, right? So I think it's just nonsense, but, just pointing this out. We don't even care about the news. All I care about is technicals, and where the dealers are telling me their position. Now let's go to the Qs here. I think the Qs early in the week, they look a little less bullish, believe it or not. Granted, on the charts here, if we look at the NQ, it actually looks pretty solid, right? Trend line here, nice liquidity grab, and then closing back above. I mean, we closed off the highs, but we rallied 750 points in like 2 hours. And again, a lot of this stuff was OPEX related. 520 and 590 SPY and QQQ were definitely pinned, at the end of the day. So I try to take that little fade at the end of the day with a grain of salt, and I'll tell you why in a minute also. But again, we closed above this all-time high on the weekly again, so it was defended. But Qs right now, believe it or not, Monday looks a little muted. Looks like 520 and maybe 525 at best. It could change, but they just look a little softer. IWM. So had a little bit of softness in the afternoon, but I like what I saw from the RTY. 618, 200 moving average, and got defended. Is this a chart that I would be shorting? Absolutely not. Right? Again, oscillators in the basement. Right? McClellan, you're getting that thrust here off the lows. It doesn't always, just give you that reward right away. A lot of people probably FOMO'd in at the highs today because they were too scared to buy the dip. They FOMO'd in at the highs, and it's kind of pulling back there. Look at previously, after these big thrusts here, did we go straight up to new highs right in April? No, we chopped around. Remember, everybody thought this was a bear flag. Right here, we had its big retrace. Everybody got bearish right here. Again, we're still making higher lows on the McClellan. Right here, McClellan V-shaping while we were just going sideways there. Again, another bear flag, right? Even on this little minor dip, same kind of deal. McClellan down below, the 100 line and right up. So, IWM, probably can still bounce. Now, I saw a lot of unwinding of hedges downside into next week. And right now, looks like 229 could be on the table. After that, 235, but you got to get through 225 first. So that's a big level there. If we do fade down, there's an absolute mammoth amount of support at 215. And, I don't know how much really realistically lower we could go depending on if we're going straight, in a straight line here. You got the weekly 50 right here at the 210 area. If we're straight line selling without a bear flag or a bear rejection, this is going to be a lot of support down here. But up here right now, this is the level you want to defend as a bear. Take that right. Oops. Take a fib there too. Yeah. 228 to 382, and then 230, 231. So again, I said 229 right in that vicinity. The Dow, this is actually the most bullish going into next week. So right now, just double checking my levels here. Yeah, and if this gets through 430, I can see 437 and 440 by the end of the week. So, that's basically just negates that whole sell-off. Nice hit of the 100 moving average. Look at the YM. Beautiful, right? Perfect back test. And then if we look lower, there's 41,800, 200 MA. That's your bear move if we continue down. But I think at most, or at best, you want a bear flag first before we do that. Diamond, again, there's a lot of support at 420, but I would guess, let me just take a look, yeah, 41.8, so yeah, I guess that's right around like 413, 414, 415 for the diamond there. I don't see downside hedges on a lot of these things next week, but I'm just putting it out there. VIX. There's a lot going on here. So I talked about the 20 handle. We closed the week below that, right? Dealers are short those calls, and they're currently long puts for 14. Those expire pretty quickly, but that's the range we're in. There is a little bit of GEX support around 15 and a little bit at 18. But if this stays below 20 and really 18 even, you think you're going to get crushed. Is this the Santa rally, right? Everybody wanted the Santa rally, but you know, we didn't get it because maybe they just needed to get people off before it could happen, right? So just throwing that out there for bears, you got to just get, I mean, you got to find a way to get back above 25, really. So that's what it's all about here for really like the next week or so on the VIX. Can they do that on Christmas Eve? Did it once before. We'll see. Some other stocks to watch that I think are important. I'm not going to go over everything, but let's just look at Tesla. This should retest 400. If this gets down into 400 on Monday, I'd probably buy it, you know, at least for a bounce here, and it should test that and get defended. You know, this is what I call a drop and pop. Extended move, first hit of the 20 MA after a big extension. That's a textbook drop and pop. You look for at least a 50% retrace off of that. Maybe higher. Could go make new highs, could go to 500, but you look for at least that. I think that's interesting. Why am I bringing that up? Because it's a popular stock and because this has been a market leader, right? So we want to see what Tesla's doing. We want to pay attention. Maybe that's why the Qs looked a little bit weak in the flows that I saw, because Tesla maybe weak early in the next week. Another one I think is important to take a look at is NVIDIA. And the reason for that is this is one of the only stocks that didn't, this was green for the week. So closed green for the week. And again, we did no damage on the weekly. 20 MA test, Pierce, you know, head and shoulders is basically failing at this point. You know, you broke below it and then you close back above. But what is more significant to me is, you know, during this sell-off, NVIDIA didn't even take out the previous day low. So if we're going to have a rally and the market's going to squeeze up, this is a stock here that's already shown relative strength through a weak period. Going into the end of the year, maybe some window dressing, who knows? Fund managers, performance chasing. I think this is a stock that's primed to lead if there's going to be one. So NVIDIA is definitely on my radar for next week. Not really seeing a ton of risk, maybe a little bit down to 125. But yeah, if we can, you know, hold 135 and then, or excuse me, yeah, maybe a tiny bit to 125. This has got to get to 140 and clear that. But I can definitely see it getting there. But if it clears 140, it's going to take off. So levels I'm watching there, and then I'd say 125 and then 120 are going to be your levels on the downside. Below that, you have the 200 MA. But that would be, I mean, based on the relative strength here this week, I don't really see that unless something happens. So anyways, those are the levels I'm watching here going into this week. Again, big picture, look at 6K SPX. It's that big 618. It should get tested. And even for bulls here, you don't need to FOMO in at the highs. If you missed the dip, the way that these things play out, they tend to give you a chance to get back in, right? Right there, right here, right? So you don't need to, you know, jump in front of anything. You could always get some sort of kind of higher low setup. But right now, that 6K handle, 618 area, that's big. And then above that, the bull flag rejection. If that gets broken through, we're going to go make new highs and probably to 6150 on SPX into the end of the year. So anyways, you guys take care. Thank you guys all for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com. And I'll see you guys all tomorrow on Monday.